As soon as I open it, roaches. To where when I walked in the house,
did you scream?
You don't know my life, bro.
Welcome back to Econix Talks, guys.
When I pop up, everybody gonna be like, man, overnight success.
Lifestyle topics, entrepreneurship, and investing.
Are you serious about this? Because if you are, then I'm willing to back the business.
We want to inform you, educate you, and empower you so that you can maximize your life. Let's get started. What's up, everybody? I want to give a huge shout out to all the new supporters that have joined us this year, and I can never forget my day one, so shout out to y'all too. As most of you guys know, running an independent podcast takes a ton of time and energy. Now, if you ever benefited from an episode of this show or mini episodes and you'd like to support, you can do that by buying us a coffee. You can reach that by the support link in the show notes, or if you're following me or Econix on Instagram, it'll be in the link in the bio. And this will be used to cover any expenses that come with the show. I appreciate everything you guys have done, and this has been such a fulfilling year. Now, on to this episode. Welcome back to another episode of Econix Talks, guys. Today we have Bryant Sells. He is the president of Apex Franchise Consulting. I am super happy to have this brother on. Just to give y'all some accolades, what this brother has accomplished. He has 10 years as a franchise owner of You Break It, I Fix It, and he's transitioned over to helping people acquire their own franchises. So I'm super happy to go ahead and break this topic down. He has a wealth of knowledge and information to provide us today. So let's get right into this thing, man. What's up, man? Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Josh.
No problem, man. So we're going to get right into it, bro. So tell me a little bit about yourself, how you kind of got into entrepreneurship. How did you kind of break in and get your start? And we'll go from there.
Well, I got my start in entrepreneurship pretty soon out of college. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but like a lot of us, didn't know where to go. And I kind of stumbled into a path, just found me, basically. I didn't really find it. You mentioned I own 2 You Break, I Fix stores. I bumped into them because the guys who started it went to University of Central Florida with me. And, I just applied for a job on the UCF job site. I was working for Firestone Auto Care at the time, selling tires. I hated it. The only jobs I could find were kind of sales jobs. So I ended up finding You Break, I Fix. It gave me something interesting. Phone repair was new. The iPhone 3G just dropped. So that's kind of how I got into You Break. And they had such a good business idea that it really exploded. I got hired with them. They had like 12 units. They started franchising at around 30. I think my first store was unit 32. And then the next one I built was 122. And they ended up growing that business well over 500 units and selling it off. So, but they really introduced me to entrepreneurship. And I was very blessed. I was able to get into a franchise for really cheap, because I worked for them. They kind of waived the royalty or the franchise fee up front. It was a cheap business to start. And I just kind of stumbled right into it, honestly.
That's pretty cool, man. I do not come across a lot of people who have a wireless background like myself. So what you don't know is I used to work for AT&T for 5 years, man. So I was hustling, man. You know how that retail life goes.
Yeah. I probably dropped some cards off to you.
Yep. And we would have a lot of reps come in, drop cards, and then we would obviously recommend them if they couldn't afford it. They didn't have insurance on their phones. Hey, man, go to this store down the street. And then boom, we got a lot of referrals off that way. So that's super dope, man. Now, follow-up question to that. So first of all, if you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you kind of started working in that industry? You said, right?
I think I was 21. I was 21.
Okay. So what were some of the lessons that you were able to learn up close? Like as you were in the office day to day, working in and out from the owners and stuff?
Shoot, how much time do we have, man?
We got an hour, man.
It's a lot. But one of the first things so from the owners and the guys who actually started You Break, I Fix, you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I learned just how challenging it really is to grow a business, especially a franchise business. Just the legal side, the diversity of personality types of the various franchisees, the owners, and just the amount of challenges that come along with business ownership are just uncountable. So it really that was the first thing I noticed was like, wow, this is really hectic to get it going.
It's intense.
Right. Intensity, hecticness. But they really had a good, there was three of them, and they had a good balance between their personality types. And I feel like that was one of their strongest, one of the reasons it helped lead to success. Not only did they have a brilliant business idea, but they had good personalities that balance one another out and work well together.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I always tell people when you start to kind of shift and you get around more people that kind of do what you do, that's when you really learn. You pick up stuff.
Right.
'Cause the thing is, you can go read something in a book. We can go to school and we went to college, right? So we can go to college and learn about entrepreneurship. But when you actually get in the field, that's when you learn the nitty and the gritty. You see what it takes on a day-to-day basis. That's pretty
Right.
dope, man. So as you started to work in the industry and you saw things working, what were some of the things that you took from them, that you could say, you know what, I can do this? Like, how did that kind of transition into, all right, I want to do this for myself?
I was working in the stores. I was opening stores for them. I was managing stores. I was kind of like a retail development manager. So they had me doing everything. I moved to Texas for a little bit to help them open some stores in San Antonio. I moved to Denver for a little bit. So I was helping them open them. So that's what gave me the confidence to, actually just build my own, because I was building them for them. So when they said, "Hey, do you want to go and build one at home?" I was like, absolutely, I could do this, so that the role I had with them really gave me that confidence. And it was a easier than average business model. Honestly, at the time, it wasn't that complex of a business model. So it was a good starting point for me.
I try to tell people, bro, like a lot of us try to get so caught up in trying to do sexy businesses that,
Right.
that kind of really don't generate much income. And what you'll find is the people who understand the basics of business, they don't care about the sexy businesses like, doing hair, boutiques, or just things that, require a lot of attention. Don't nobody want to go buy storage units, but they move.
Mhm.
Right. Or I want to buy a franchise, but you get the right franchise, you can really scale something like that. So can you speak to me about just some of your experience of what it takes to run a day-to-day business? Because I want to get into the franchising in a second, but you did this for 10 years. So
Right.
I want people to understand that you didn't just wake up and say, I can do this. Nah, you had to learn. There was a learning process. So in your day-to-day process of actually setting up a store, what were some of the intangibles that you had to kind of transition from college to, where you are now?
I mean, well, intangibles to really learn how to open the store. I got burnt by my general contractor doing a build out and just dealing with other business professionals in the wild world out there. It's dirty, it gets a little messy. People don't call you, they rob you, screw you. So I had to just deal with that, kind of protect yourself at all times, like a boxer mentality, which I didn't really get that at first. So I kind of got screwed over a few times because I didn't know. I was naive. So I grew up pretty quick from that. You just to touch on the sexy business thing you mentioned, I use that term. That's something I write out of my mouth,
We're
because
on the same page then.
right, exactly. But because people are attracted to the sexy businesses because they look good. They're on the corner, they got the nice build out, the line out the door, whatever. But I mean, shoot, in my current mentality, all I do when I walk into a nice space is like, wow, this looks expensive, because
Yes.
I'm seeing the fixed costs that they have to hit every month. I equate brick and mortar to, in my mind, how many door swings do I need per month in order to break even? How many door swings do I need per month to have an exciting or respectable EBITDA or bottom line in my pocket? And it's the number can get pretty high depending on the business model. People are naturally attracted to food. Food is always kind of the cherry of the sexiest businesses. It's always everybody wants that restaurant that their whole friend group loves to hang out at and whatever. But like, it's a tough business model to run. And a lot of people get attracted to that model that really have no business trying to run it.
And when it talks, I have no issues with the restaurants, right? But restaurants, that
It's
is
just
one of the
tough.
hardest. It's just so competitive. Because
Mhm.
think about it, people get tired of going to the same restaurant. They want something new. So you really got to be, to be honest with you, when it comes like franchising, you got to have multiple locations.
Right.
You can't
Every
retire off one
restaurant
location.
I've
Right.
never really met a happy restaurateur with one restaurant. All of them that I know are happy, or like I was talking to a guy yesterday. He has 8 nothing bunk cakes and he's open another 6, but he's making money because he's got 8 of them. But like, you really have to be A, deep pockets, and B, have a plan to build more than one of these things, or else it's tough to really get the ROI that you can achieve out of a lot of different cheaper business models, honestly.
Yep, because at the end of the day, it's about distribution. Like it
Right.
doesn't matter. Like if your one store can profit margin something, you're still working at that location. If that location's done, that's your income.
Right. And the real dirty detail of restaurants is turnover. I love business models where I can pay my employees a living wage and retain them, give them health care, give them, help, give them a living wage. And obviously, with inflation and other challenges, it's tough. But if you can achieve that, though, that's how you end up being the entrepreneur on a golf course or on a yacht somewhere. It's because you retain the employees and you can pay them enough where they, want to actually show up and run your business the right way.
Yeah, man, that's what's up, man. That's what seems like you got a good head on, man. You've been through some stuff.
Sure.
You've been through
Sure.
some
Yeah, I've talked to a bankruptcy attorney before, bro. I've been around, trying
Okay.
to
Oh yeah.
learn some tough lessons.
Yeah, been there, bro. Been there. You know what, man? That's one of the things people really try to avoid, and they don't talk about like that kind of stuff. Because I've been through something similar to where I had to consider that, through just a
Right.
bad business relationship, and I was just like, oh my god, like, and I haven't told that story yet, but when I shared that, I'll share it one day to my audience. But it was one of the big
Mhm.
lessons that I had to learn in business. And you talk about a boxer having to protect themselves, that it
All
really
times.
it really calluses you to just how evil people can be, or just people character, lack of character. So you learn, all right, I got to have my paperwork in place, because if something go left legally, you want to be able to make sure that you're made whole, your business is intact, and you're protecting yourself no matter what happens. It might suck, but at least you got paperwork in place to protect you on the back end if something goes left. It's a little
Right.
lesson like that you pick up in the game, but you got to get in the game to learn those lessons. And
Right.
that's
Like,
kind of what people are scared of.
right. I had to learn some lessons about insurance coverage, right? Like I got robbed before one of my stores. One day got a call, four dudes threw a brick through the door or whatever, robbed. Nobody got hurt. But I
Right.
walked in and I
Typical.
was confident. At first, I was like, oh, I'm good. I got umbrella coverage and I got general liability. I know I'm good. I didn't realize that actually I needed personal property, and umbrella and general GL didn't even cover that. So I had to pay for all that junk out of pocket, man.
Wow.
And I know now, but like I had no clue,
Yep.
so it was just another one of those, like you were saying, those life lessons that they're not really going to tell you about in business school
No.
until you just get to with it, and then you
Go through
find
it. Yep.
out.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So let's transition over to some franchising questions. Now,
Okay.
when you actually, find a client that's interested in the type of franchise, what's the process that you follow to educate your clients on how that process works?
Okay, so my education process really starts with getting my client to understand themselves a little bit better. Because at the end of the day, it's not really about me; it's about you, the client, like because you're running a business. The question specifically I ask them is, "What lifestyle are you trying to achieve through business ownership?" I also ask them, "What events in your life created this conversation between me and you today?" Because they didn't call me for nothing. They must have some reasoning behind their desire to get into entrepreneurship. So I try to dive into those core drivers of what they're trying to accomplish. And usually it's something along the lines of, I don't like my job, my boss, freedom, I'm underpaid, I want to spend more time with my kid, I want to watch his baseball game or whatever. And it's simple, relatable human stuff. Like they just want to live their life,
Right.
and not have their money define and their job define their life, but their life define their job or business. So that's really the start of the conversation. Just are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? Can you build a network, or are you not that great? Are you a salesperson, or are you not comfortable? And I try to leverage some of their natural skills. Also, if you have a network, I try to understand what your network is so you can leverage the network you already have and not have to go build another network. For example, I work with realtors a decent bit. Realtors network incessantly. So I always try to advise them, hey, you can get into a franchise there. You can leverage your network you already have and cross promote, offer services, that you already they're analogous to what you already do. But that's really the first part of it is what are your skills? What's your background? And then after that, I really start talking about margins, the experience of running some of these businesses. Many clients I work with have never ran a business. And like we kind of touched on, nobody really has the vision they have in their head is almost always different than the reality, very rosy colored in your brain. It's like, oh, everybody's going to love me. Everybody's going to care when I open this business. It's going to be awesome, and it's never like that. Nobody cares. It's usually a nightmare out the gate. And you get that reality check. So I try to get them that explanation of reality, knock that rosy colored glasses off before they ever buy, so that they're in the proper state of mind, in the proper opportunity to give them the best chance of success in that business once they get started.
That's what's up, man. Thank you for that. So you mentioned something about introverts versus extroverts and the types of businesses that you would recommend for, those types of people. So can you break down, like, for example, you talked about realtors. So what are some businesses that work better for an introvert?
So a business that can be grown and the growth can be driven without relying on heavy network building locally. A lot of businesses do take a lot of like chamber of commerce, BNI, whatever you're networking, like how we met, right? But not everybody is it's not a depth that doesn't like walking around talking to people 4 days out of the week, right? So, but some businesses grow better with just digital marketing or other forms of marketing that you can just spend money on and grow the business that way without necessarily having to just shake a bunch of hands and kiss a bunch of babies, because everybody's not really into that kind of thing. So, for example, all businesses really do better when you network, honestly. But a lot of home service brands, and you can grow them through digital marketing and traditional marketing. Certain brick and mortar businesses, a lot of it is just about location, especially like food stuff like that. If you're on Main Street, you got the location, you got people are going to come out, so you don't necessarily have to network your way. It helps, but you can get around that if you have more of an introverted personality.
Okay. And then what about on the extrovert side?
Extrovert side, I would say anything that is heavily network driven. So there's some businesses, like for example, there's some that are expense reduction franchises where they use certain software, proprietary technology to network with businesses, mid-cap businesses, and help them save money. And that's almost exclusively network driven. You're shaking hands, you're meeting business owners, you're golfing, you're going out to breakfast, taking people out to lunch, and you're having to grow that professional kind of network in order to grow that business. So maybe a C-suite executive who loves chopping it up with people, that may be a great opportunity to them to, network with other business owners to attract them to your business, versus the introvert may want a tropical smoothie, for example, because they put it in the right spot. People Google it, they just come there. You don't necessarily have to be pounding the pavement to bring the new traffic in.
That's what's up, man. Thank you for that breakdown. I've never thought about, introvert versus extrovert when it comes to business. So that's a dope breakdown. Now, what are some of the most successful franchises or just business models that you've seen in the franchising industry?
There's absolutely successes across the board. One example, brand, I don't even sell this, but Crumble Cookies. Everybody's seen Crumble.
Yeah, we got a couple.
Yeah, they got over 1,000 units sold, I think, in 6 years. So they're definitely in that sexy business category where somebody walks in, it's a beautiful build out, the cookies are good. So those types of businesses kind of sell themselves sometimes, honestly. But other non sexy type successes, there have been a lot of successes in like junk hauling franchises have been very successful. Residential commercial cleaning, all sorts of home service brands like painting, handyman, roofing, gutter repair, lawn services. There's brands in every one of those industries that have sold out across the entire country, have done very well, created millionaires out of many of their franchisees. But they're the type of businesses, many of them, where you drive by a truck on the side of the road in your neighborhood and you don't notice that like Lawn Guys is actually a, $1 billion franchise across 48 states in America. So a lot of the successful stuff is more blue collar that I like to talk about because just less fixed costs a lot of times associated with it, more flexibility and better margins a lot of times as well.
I think that a lot of people miss that. You know, one of the big things in business that people miss is the profit margins. I
Right.
don't care what business you're
All I talk
in.
about.
Yes, it doesn't matter. What is your bottom line? How much money are you keeping at the end of the day? What are your expenses and how much money do you take home? I don't care what industry you're in, everybody, every business owner, that's what they're counting every single day. So
Right.
that's pretty dope. Go ahead.
Talking about gross profits is like having a job and talking about how much money your boss is making. How does that affect you? You know, that's not your money. You're talking about money that somebody this is not even your money. You know, so I personally see it as a red flag if people want to talk about gross, because who cares? Like if you gross $1 million and you spend 1.1, you just lost 100 grand, bro. That's not
Right.
exciting. You
Right.
know, so in my humble opinion, the real ones talk about net or the word EBITDA, which is earnings before interest, taxes, and amortization. You know, but that's the only percentage that matters. And in my humble opinion, 20% or better, I'm not getting out of bed, bro. Like that's
Yeah.
it. Like I got a number in my head of what I want to see. And if you're telling me like, oh, we got 14% net, that's boring. You know, to me, like you got to get above 20 or else little undulations in the economy, like inflation, look what it's done. You know, you had a business pre-inflation, it was doing 10% net. You don't have a business doing 10% net anymore, you know, because inflation, you might be losing money. So that's why you really need to bake in a good net margin cushion because you never know what the future may hold.
Right. Can you break that down for me? That what you just talked about profit margins and how important that is. So when you're looking at a business and identifying that, what takes away from profit margins? What are some of the things that people kind of don't account for that may cost? And they're like, like the insurance thing. What are some examples that are common in your industry that you see?
Yeah, absolutely. Insurance. Payroll is the biggest one, of course, the one variable expense you're going to tell you about. Like, so having low employee count, or let me phrase it another way, the ratio of the number of employees you need to the amount of money they can generate per employee is a ratio that's very important in franchising. So just how many employees do I need to bring in my money and how much more money do I need to bring in before I have to hire another employee? But just keeping that ratio good is important. Keeping fixed costs low. Rent is one of the most unmovable expenses. It always goes up year over year. It never goes down, and you got to pay it, and it can be very taxing bill to repeatedly hit. So insurance is another big one, like like we both brought up. People don't think about that, but once you have that brick and mortar presence, your insurance burden goes way up. Once an old lady can walk inside of your business, slip and break her hip, your bit goes up. You know, once an employee can slip and get hurt in the back, your insurance goes up. So it's just those little details, just reducing your liability overall can help increase your bottom line. And really, it's just that cost of goods sold. If you're not selling anything at all, if it's a service business, for example, carpet cleaning or commercial cleaning are predominantly services, the cost of goods sold is only like the cleaning materials that your employees may use that particular day. So just getting that cost of goods sold down helps you get above that 20% EBITDA, because that's why restaurants never get above 20%, because they have the rent. They have a high cost of goods sold because they got food costs, which are variable. They go up all the time. You know, they got high employee costs. I mentioned that employee to dollar ratio. So they're violating all the things I just mentioned, which is why they don't make a good profit, you know, but you just need a bit. Just to give you one example of something that doesn't violate, I'm very fond of drywall patching as a business model, right? And the reason being is you can start that business with one van, one technician. You know, you can go to Home Depot and get it sheet of drywall and all the tools and plaster, whatever you need to do the work. It's a high margin job per job. You can charge people a good amount if you do good work, and it's a job handymen don't specialize in it, don't really like to do, and plumbers, HC guys, electricians, they go around town and knock holes in drywall all day long, and they don't repair them. So all you have to do as the drywall guy or girl is build up those strategic partnerships in the community, and they're going to be more than happy to just give you the business because they just want to know an expert to handle that niche. So it's a niche, which is what makes it powerful. You don't need a lot of employees. You don't need brick and mortar. It's a high margin. It's easy to scale. You get more jobs. You just get another van. Your jobs dry up, you can get rid of a van, but it's that level of flexibility and margin and, easy to find network partners in town that attracts me personally to a particular business model.
Thank you so much. Hey, y'all, if y'all heard that, drywall business, I wrote it down. So y'all know how to drywall. Y'all better hit my boy up. He got you. You get your franchise set up so you can start knocking out walls and going to repair them. That's what's up, man. All right. So let's talk about financing. So obviously all of this stuff kind of costs some money. So where does that kind of play in? Is it very difficult? Is it easy? Can you speak to that?
Well, that's kind of the best part, in my opinion, of the power of franchising is most people don't realize it's easier to get capital for a franchise startup than it is for a non-franchise startup. I would even go further to say that it's borderline impossible to get traditional funding for a non-franchise startup because the risk profile is too high. No underwriter in their right mind is going to ever authorize that. And, they just won't. So you end up, that's why they have angel money, right? Angel investors are because you need a prayer to get some money, basically, when you got your own startup that doesn't have that established track record that a well-seasoned franchise model can offer. So that being said, the average brand I like to promote is in that $100,000 to $150,000 range for one territory. Like, great example, drywall franchise, like it's around 80 to 100 or so to get into that. So let's say you have $25,000 cash you've saved up trying to consider where to place it. You could leverage that liquid capital. Depending what your net worth is, you got to have some equity, maybe in a property, maybe in a retirement account, something, but your debt to income ratio cannot be upside down. If you have 200 grand in college debt, kind of forget about it. Sad, sorry, but that debt to income ratio is a big part of it. But if it's off, you need a guarantor, so it's not over. Maybe call your parent. Like, my dad was my guarantor. I didn't have any money at 21, so I had a guarantor to get some money. So to finish that thought, if you can get an SBA loan for a franchise business model with around 10 to maybe 20% of liquid of the amount you're trying to get. So if you're trying to get 150, which I think that's actually the floor of what they'll even give you for an SBA, on average, you'd probably need to show 20, 25K liquid in your hand and, probably credit score 680, 700, net worth 150 or above. And if you could hit those bars, they'd give you the money, and then you can start that business and keep moving forward. There's other ways to access capital, home equity lines of credit. You can do a Rob's 401k if you have a well-established retirement account. I mean, there's hard money lenders. There's other routes to go. The interest rates will never be as good as they will be on that government-backed SBA loan. Yeah. But franchising does give you more options, and it gives more confidence to underwriters than if you just walked in there with a business model. So that's the best way I can explain that. It's always a case-by-case basis, but people are getting capital out here, though. SBA loans are still moving, even in this current economy. So there's capital out there.
Thank you for that. What is the average age that you see people getting into an industry like this that want to franchise?
Oh, actually buying franchises?
Yeah. That are actually established enough to kind of make that type of purchase.
There's a lot of young franchisee systems out there. A lot of them are in that 30s to 40s range. There's not a lot of, no offense to boomers or old people, but there's not a whole ton, in franchising. A lot of times by the time you get to 55 or above, 60, probably I would say 65, 60, I wouldn't personally advise you to go start an entrepreneurial venture. Like I wouldn't advise you to risk your retirement. Maybe you don't have one, I don't know. But generally it's a younger person's game, in my humble opinion, but it's a very diverse crowd. Obviously I'm Black. I see a lot of people look like me, like yourself, Josh, all sorts of, people, a lot of diversity, men, women, young, old. So I would encourage everybody to really take that look. And one other small nugget, when you are investigating a franchise model, take a look at the diversity of the franchisees. You can call other owners during the validation stage and see if you get along with them. If they invite other people that remind you of yourself, this may be a good culture fit for you, because culture matters in franchising. And I kind of warn people, like, if you don't want to sit down and break bread with these people, like, you shouldn't buy into their business model, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's real. That's real, because you never think about it. Like, let's say you started a business that started in Louisiana. That culture may be completely different from Florida.
Right.
So you want to make sure certain things align. Now, do you see a lot of partnerships? Do you see a lot of partnerships in franchising?
I do. Be very careful though. That's the best advice I could say. Don't just partner with anybody. And if you do find a business partner, some people get the silent partner, right? Which, let's say you don't have the money, you talk to your parent, ideally uncle, auntie, somebody like that. Maybe they help you out with the loan, but they expect you to bust your butt and run the business. Like, that's probably best case, when you got family members, because blood's usually pretty thick, hopefully, but if there is anything that will challenge a relationship close to a marriage, it's running a business with somebody. You're going to find out some things about them, about yourself, and just be very careful who you hitch your wagon to. I would say.
Yep. It takes a lot of growth, man, to find the right partner to kind of work at your same pace, that has the same business philosophy as you. If you're working with a cat or a woman that's they might, something as small as like slamming sales, right? They're not as good with customers as you are, but they're customer facing. That could kill your business. And you realize, you're like, well, why are people turning away? Why are people not coming back? It's because you got the wrong person at the front.
Right. I mentioned it briefly earlier with You Break, I Fix, but the reason they were successful was they had the right partners from the beginning. One guy was the sales vision guy, another guy was the operations guy, and the other guy was more an IT guy. And they stayed in their lane and they respected one another. And it was what helped them find that success. But if you're not equally yoked with your business partner, almost guaranteed is going to end up in a problem.
No, that's facts, bro. That's facts.
That's big facts.
Is there anything else you want to share about franchising and just everything that you guys do, and like how you support people throughout this process? Because I want to transition over to the Econix 10 before I get you out of here.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would describe my role in franchising as a trusted advisor and a consultant. I'm not a salesman. My last name is Sells, but I don't sell, I promise. And because the franchisors are doing the selling. So I really try to prepare my clients mentally to ask the right questions, to be prepared for their sales, so that you're not getting gaslit into buying an opportunity and you're really checking all your boxes, doing your proper research, and getting into a proper match with somebody. And because there's everything that glitters isn't gold, and there's a lot of franchises out there that will sell you the dream, and they really don't have that gas in the tank to back it up. So that I do feel like is my most value I bring in the industry, is just getting people to not only understand the business model that they're most likely to find financial success in, but getting them to get connected with the franchises that I've done my research on, that I know are really about that life and not out here selling snake oil. Because a lot of the negative stories people may know that are listening to this, the friend, brother, cousin who got burnt on a subway or whatever, is usually because they just ate somewhere. They just called the corporate office directly, started talking to their sales team, and got sold on something without really doing their due diligence or knowing what they're really getting themselves into. So that's really where makes me enjoy my business, is helping people avoid calamity and buying into the wrong thing and getting connected with some real good entrepreneurs.
That's what's up. So what he's saying, y'all, is he pretty much is the shortcut or the expertise that you would need. Because again, just like going to a doctor, you don't know everything. We don't know. Everybody has an expertise. Everybody has a field that they specialize in. And that's where he comes in and he says, hey, this is what you should be looking for. And these are the things that you can avoid if you pay attention. This is a good franchise. This is smoke. So when y'all are meeting with him, make sure like follow the lead. That's all you got to do. Just take notes and be coachable. Now,
Right.
I want to transition over to the Econix 10. Just some questions for you. These are fun level questions, nothing heavy. So first question I have for you of the Econix 10 is, what would you title this chapter in your life?
The Arrival.
I like that. Yeah. I like that. Okay. Number 2, what superpower would you have?
Superpower. I'd probably want to fly. I feel like, bro, airline ticket prices wild out here, boy.
I'm out of here.
But get scared, boy. I'm flying.
There we go. Hey, sign me up. Number 3, what would you invest in right now if money was not an issue?
In this economy, maybe gold.
Okay.
Minerals, probably. Keep it safe.
All right. If you weren't doing this, what would your other profession be?
I mean, it's kind of close to this. I might be a business broker, like reselling existing businesses. There's so many realtors out there. I feel like it's so freaking crowded. But I mean, I'm maybe into real estate, but probably something like that.
I feel it. Now, number 5 dinner guests, dead or alive. Who's coming to your table?
5 dinner guests, dead or alive. I'm bringing Malcolm X, bro. I really respect that brother. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go.
I'll bring in Malcolm. He probably sitting at the head of the table. Shoot, man. I'm a big entrepreneur guy. This guy is super controversial, but whatever. I'd take Elon Musk to the table.
Interesting guy to have a conversation with. Yes.
He's. I wish he would shut his mouth more often and just talk more about business. But I talk to him. I chop it up with Elon. I'm a big Donald Glover fan. I love some Childish Gambino, got a new album dropping. So you get an artist in the room, got an entrepreneur, revolutionary artist.
Yeah, he's definitely, he's crossed.
I don't know. Yeah, get a little bit of everything.
Yeah, he's all
shoot, I probably want to hang out with an athlete in there. I don't even know. I might chop it up with MJ, bro.
Let's go.
Talk to the GOAT.
Yeah.
I don't even know who that 5th one would be. I don't know. Somebody. Probably probably African revolutionary like Thomas Sankara.
There we go. Let's get it, man. You have an interesting table. It's an interesting table.
It would be, yeah.
Now, number 7, what is something that the average person would not know about you?
I'm an avid fisherman. I'm an outdoors guy. Me and my wife go camping. I know we ain't a lot of us out here camping normally, but I'm out there though, bro.
That's what's up. Hey man, let's go. I ain't a camper, but I'll get out there. All right, number 8. What is your favorite productivity hack? What do you use to get things done?
For me, it's hard for me too because I'm an army of one. So I think one of my challenges is daily, like, what should I do next? I don't know what to do a lot of times, in terms of value, time, whatever. So really, this isn't anything special, but just leaning on my schedule, man. I wasn't a schedule guy before, like, I was like, but like as a consultant now, like if it ain't on my schedule, it's not happening, and I really had to learn how to lean on that bad boy because it's the only way to exist.
I tell people, man, I'm like, bro, how do you run a business and you don't have a calendar? I don't get it. Like, how do you stay organized if you don't know who you're talking to? You don't have a follow-up system. You don't have any type of system in place to manage your business. But yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Number 9, name 3 of the most influential people in your life.
One, low-hanging fruit. I'd say my parents, definitely were influential.
They count as one.
One, yeah, right.
Yeah, they count as one.
It's hard to say like a specific people. I've been inspired by a series of entrepreneurs, honestly. I mentioned Elon. Mainly it's just the ability to interrupt industries that were seemed uninterruptible, like auto, space. So that I felt like that was very inspirational as an entrepreneur. And I picked MLK, another guy at the table, just inspiration to just go against the grain and be your authentic self and say the truth no matter whatever other people feel about it.
Now that's real. I like MLK. Yeah. You got one more. No, that was three. That was three.
No, that's three. Yep.
That was three.
I'm off.
All right.
Good.
There we go. Last question. PB&J or grilled cheese?
Grilled cheese. Anything off a grill, heat, hot food, I'm good. I'm melting that cheese, boy.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, Bryant. So that is all I have for you today. Now, I need you to tell everybody where they can follow you, how they can reach you, if they're interested in even looking at some options of what's out there for them. How can they get in contact with you?
You can go to my site, of course, apexfranchiseconsulting.com. You can follow me on Instagram. _franchise_fanatic is my tag. You can email me if you really want. Call me 813-725-4687 is my business line. Just reach out. But realistically, go book us time on that website so we can schedule it, and I can have my time and mental acuities focused on the task at hand.
Sounds good, man. Bryant, thank you so much for getting on the podcast today, just dropping a wealth of knowledge about franchising and really how to make extra money out here for people who are looking for options on where they can put their extra dollars as they're growing their portfolio. So thank you for that. And without further ado, y'all, thank you. Have a good one. Peace.
Yes, sir.